got my notes. I think I'm ready. I'm comfy. I think so. Hello everyone, it's Miriam and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hello. I'm so glad you're here today with me. And if you can't tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be sharing things that I'm doing differently for baby number 3. So a little background on me. I have 2 girls. My first girl I had when I was actually 18 years old. Then I got married, and then me and my husband had our second baby in 2021. So like right after during the pandemic, I would say. So there's almost a 12-year gap between those girls. And then we are pregnant now with baby boy that is due in the next 3.5 weeks or so. And so him and Hannah are going to be around 2 years and like 11 months apart, almost 3 years apart, we'll just say. In this video, I'm going to be sharing just things that I'm doing differently for baby number 3. I've learned a lot in the past almost 15 years of being a parent. Yes, I was a young parent in the beginning, but being a second time mom with Hannah, which was almost 3 years ago, I've learned a lot as well. Being married, having someone there to support me, it's just been different. And then also having help from my oldest as well. Reflecting on those 2 pregnancies and journeys, just raising children, I'm like, how can I do things just a little differently? I'm going to be in a few different categories. Let me take this bracelet off because I feel like it's making noise. I'm going to be sharing things I'm doing differently with baby number 3. So with baby boy, we're talking about routines, sleeping, feeding, what else do I have? Activities, postpartum. Let me see. Yes, I think it's just those. I don't want this video to be super drawn out, but I do think it's valuable. And that's why I'm sharing it, because again, being a 3rd-time mom, or gonna be a 3rd-time mom soon, and again, having that big gap, I've learned a lot of things, and I've also gotten older. I've grown as a person, as an individual. I'm married now. I wasn't married before. So the first category is going to be sleep. With Hannah, we kind of did the co-sleeping. We tried the mini crib next to our crib. Again, it had been so many years since I've had a child at that point. So I decided I'm going to just do what's kind of easiest. And I did the co-sleeping. We breastfed for 14 months. And then she would, come in our bed and be right next to her, especially within the first few months. And we tried her laying in her own crib. That didn't really work. She would cry and I would give in, and I didn't like do any of the methods of like letting him cry it out and that kind of thing. This go around, we're going to put him down for at least 1 nap a day in his bassinet. So we have a bassinet. It's right over there. So we're going to try that. We are again in a new state. Things are just different here. There's a lot more sunlight. So doing my own research, learning from other moms and my own experience, I need to put him down for at least 1 nap a day in his bassinet to get him used to it. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I'm going to do is putting him down when he's not fully asleep. So even in the beginning, like with Hannah, again, it being such a big gap, I don't recall what happened almost 15 years ago. You wait till the baby sleep, and then it's like, oh, now lay him down, and they start startling. You're like, but I've heard you want to put them in before I think the REM sleep occurs. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm learning as well. So I noticed when I put her to sleep, when she was all the way to sleep, she would wake up, and then you have to like start all over again, versus her being a little drowsy and not asleep, right? Almost asleep. So I'm going to put him down then. That's the plan. I'm also going to start a swaddle right in the beginning as well. We did, of course, blankets and that kind of thing, but I want to use the actual swaddle. With Hannah, we tried that, and I think it just not working and me not being as consistent. I gave up. So I'm going to use the swaddle. I know we have the snooze swaddler as well as the Dream Baby. So the weighted one, which we had for Hannah, and it actually worked, but it took us months to get there. So I'm going to try to introduce that a lot earlier. The next category is feeding. And I breastfed both of my babies. Hannah, I breastfed till she was 14 months. And then I had, some milk in the freezer that I was able to, just have a supply for those months that I was pumping and just doing both. So I plan to, and if you don't mind, I'm looking at my phone so I can stay on track here. I plan to feed on both sides. I know that sounds weird, but trust me, mama, like you get used to just feeding on one side, or you do 2 minutes and then like maybe 1 minute or a few minutes, and then you forget this side, especially if they fall asleep, they unlatch. If you're a mom, you already know. And I start patting, and then I forget about this side. So that's something, and I think that's what hurt my supply in the long run, because I did that for so many months. And then she turned 9 months, and I'm like, I saw a huge dip in my production, and it was because of me only really doing the one boob and then hours later pumping, and so it was telling my body, oh, she doesn't need as much, right? It's like the supply and demand when it comes to breastfeeding. So I plan on doing, both boobs right away, which I did before, but I faded feed on both sides. So that's what I plan to do this go round. The other thing is changing him before feeding him so he can like wake up to feed. That's another like tip. You want to make sure they're up, because especially in the early few weeks, months, they fall asleep on the boob. It's comfortable, right? Like they're with their mama. They feel the love. They feel the snuggles. They fall asleep. So, and it's easy to just like, okay, unlatch, right? So I just want to make sure that before we even feed, I change him so he's somewhat alert. So that's the thing I'm going to be doing differently. Also, in the feeding category, using supplements early on and different foods to increase my supply early on. My last pregnancy, we had COVID, and it was really bad. Like I knew something was up. I went to the ER the end of April, and they said, hey, you have COVID. And I just was like, how? Like we've been inside and that kind of thing. So I had to quarantine, change my induction date. It was a whole thing, but I went into labor naturally. Thank God. But I plan on, and it took me, so I say all that to say it took me almost like a week or two for my milk to come in. It took so long for it to come in. I think just having COVID, going through all of that, slowed down a lot of the milk coming in early. So obviously I'm not believing I'm gonna have COVID again, Lord. I wanna just make sure what I can do to, get things started. Just making sure I'm staying hydrated. Body Armor helped me a whole lot because of that coconut water, as well as just coconut water in general, drinking that plain. And then if I need to take an additional supplement, I know there's like the liquid gold out there. There's a whole lot of different things. So I plan on like jumping on that right away and establishing a really good feeding routine with him. You want to establish that within the first like week or two, like them latching on, your milk, again, to tell your body to produce more milk. Also wearing a pump that I can wear. So that wearable pump, they had it, they were just introducing it about 3 years ago from my understanding, unless I guess didn't know that they had it out then. But I remember just being like hooked up. Of course, if you're a mom, you've pumped before, just hooked up to a machine all day. It's like you're a cow, and with a toddler now, I need to be mobile. I'm not able to just sit down. She gets into something, I can't just rip the thing out the plug and keep moving, right? So I need to have a wearable pump. That's something I'm doing. I actually was blessed to have two. I'm gonna be trying the Willow 3.0 as well as the Motif. So trying those two different ones on the go when we travel, when we're at home, just again, trying to build that supply up early on. And then the other one with feedings, it's gonna be introducing solids to him a little early on versus waiting until like 6 months, which again, to each his own. I know some moms, they can introduce maybe like 4 months, a little bit of oatmeal, that kind of thing. I just plan on doing, all of my homemade foods that I did with Hannah, applesauce, carrots. I just pureed a lot of the stuff at home. I plan on doing that around 5.5 months, or when I see he's ready, right? So instead of waiting and then the baby wants his milk, introduce some of the solids a little bit earlier than 6 months, if he's ready. The next category is going to be routines. And now that I have a toddler, again, if you're a stay-at-home mom, you already know you have to have somewhat of a routine. And I'm not saying I'm perfect or consistent all the time, but I have seen when I do have a routine, I'm consistent, things work, and they just flow. The day flows a lot smoother. So having a routine, a morning routine, a nap routine, and an evening routine. And I'm sure once time goes on within those first few weeks, it's like sleep, poop, wake up, repeat, those kind of thing, right? And feeding will kind of start telling us the routine, but also me just being consistent with, creating that cozy nighttime routine so he can sleep at night, keeping him up during the day, having tummy time, doing that different activities. So that's something I plan on doing different. And then getting sunlight throughout the day is another thing. Living in Chicago when we did with Hannah, even though it was spring and the time had changed, I still felt, and I don't know if that's a little bit of the postpartum depression or just postpartum that you go through after that month or two, but I needed some vitamin D, and I don't feel like I got a lot of that, and that could have helped me during that transition, that phase, that early on phase with the newborn. So here in Florida, it's sunlight all the time. It's sunny, shining today. I plan on getting daily walks in just to kind of help with that fresh air, getting that natural vitamin D. And the next thing is trying to encourage him, the baby, as much to just getting used to the day and the night, right? And I know it takes a little time because they're obviously dark in the womb for a while. So really trying to just focus on, hey buddy, you know, after a month, okay, let's try to keep him up a little more as we can during the day so he sleeps better at night, right? So really being intentional about helping him understand day and night time. I guess this goes with like sleep routines kind of, or just the added one, but wearing him more. Like I thought I was going to do that with Hannah, and I did not do that at all. Like we just held her all the time. I worked from home at the time. My husband worked from home. We just held her, right? Or she's kind of sat in a bouncer, but she didn't really like a lot of bouncers. So I plan on, again, having a toddler. If you have a toddler, you already know, mom, like you got to be able to get things done. Like they still need to be, you know, cared for and that kind of thing. I plan on wearing him a lot more, but also going back to that sleep change that I'm making is putting him down in his bassinet at least once a day. Wearing him more. Right now I have the Ergo Baby carrier. I'm looking for, I want to get a second one of the kind of cloth ones. So if you have any recommendations, let me know down below. I've heard of a few, but I'm just still doing my research to see which one I think would work for me right now. So let me know. And then we're going to move into, yes, activities. So tummy time, at least trying that 2 times a day. I know the doctors were like, you know, when I had Hannah, they were saying, hey, you know, you can start the first week doing tummy time. And that's, again, it's not even like a long, when we say tummy time, it's like, oh, we're going to be on the tummies for 20 minutes or 10 minutes. It's really like a minute or 2, and you just gradually build from there. And on the boppy, that's what they said I could do, the boppy, or like a small little pillow, obviously with supervision, having them propped up to get used to being on their stomachs, because some babies really like it, some don't, but you want to introduce it early on. So I plan on doing that twice a day. And then I have some actually right behind the camera, I have some of the black and white contrast books. So me and Hannah do that with him on the floor to kind of help with him getting used to being up and also being on his stomach. The second thing is putting him in a bouncer and or a swing. Like I stated before, me and my husband just kind of carried Hannah. I think it was just, you know, new for us. And we just wanted to cuddle her versus, you know, as she got older, it's like she wanted to be on me all the time and cuddle versus me being able to get things done and being in a bouncer or a swing. One of the changes I'm doing with baby boy is putting him down in a bouncer or a swing. We have actually 3, which we've been blessed with. I'm going to do that early on so he can get used to that. Again, I'm able to be more mobile, do different things, tend to my toddler as well. So definitely putting him down early on in the bouncer or the swing. And then the last category is postpartum. This is such a big topic. And again, I didn't want this video to be so long, so hopefully it's not too long. But doing something for myself every day. And I know in the beginning, right, like I'm probably just be in the bed type of thing, or, you know, sitting in the rocking chair, which is behind the camera. But I want to do something to pour into me the best I can. Like I know obviously I'll just have a baby at that point. What activity or what is something that brings me joy every day? So I actually plan on writing down a few things, putting in like a little jar, you know, and then taking one thing out every day. So I'm intentionally thinking, hey, what can I do every day to bring me joy? Whether that's making myself coffee, asking my husband to go get my favorite coffee, watching a movie, what else? Going for a walk, going to the park, watching my favorite, you know, catching up on different TV shows, you know, calling someone I haven't talked to in a while. I don't know, maybe going shopping, right? Some retail therapy, something that will help me get through the day and bring me joy. Because I know those first few weeks are rough, right? And I'm not trying to be super mom in any way, but I've reflected a lot on my journey in my last 2 pregnancies and postpartum experiences. And I want to do stuff to help just lift my spirits, because it can be a really stressful time. You're adapting to this newborn, this new, you know, addition to your family. Me having a toddler now, like this is really new, you know. I'm gonna be really in the thick of it because I'll have a teen, a toddler, and a newborn. So they're all different stages. So, you know, whenever you think about your girl, send one up for me, okay? So with that said, just making sure again that I am doing something for me every day that brings me joy. And again, this is really small, it's not a huge thing. And also another thing, which this is one of my last ones, I'm just going to jump ahead because I see I'm just flying through some of these. Asking for help. Mama, ask for help if you need help. Like, I know it's hard because we want to kind of take on everything and carry everything on our shoulders, and you may be the backbone of your family, right? And God's equipped us to be a mom, right? And to birth and to raise kids and those kind of things. But ask for help. Like, we're not nothing if we're pouring from an empty cup. Like, we have to be filled up to some degree, right? The best we can. And so how do we do that? We ask for help, we delegate. And that's what I want to do more of, or do this time postpartum, is like ask my husband for help, which he was phenomenal. Made food 3 times a day, like, you know, took the oldest to school. Like, he did so much, and I know he's going to do that. But again, we have a toddler as well. So just asking for help when you need it, you know, calling up, you know, a friend that you have close by, maybe a family member. Hey, you know what, I really could use a 2-hour, 3-hour break, or a nap, right? Like, I remember needing a nap every day, like, because you're up during the night. So asking for help, mama, like, it's going to pay off, and you're going to feel a lot better. You can pour from a full cup versus it being empty. And you're your best self when you're full versus empty. So that's one thing, ask for help so you don't get overwhelmed. I think that's it, yeah. So those are all of my changes that I'm doing with baby. So those are all my changes that I'm doing with baby number 3 when baby boy gets here, hopefully in just a short few weeks. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy any of my content, I appreciate it. Definitely subscribe, like, share it with another mama. My channel, I really want it to be where I'm encouraging others, sharing bits and pieces of my life in a real way, but also just connecting with you all, building a tribe, a community of women that uplift each other, of moms that uplift each other, that can have those conversations, that can lean on each other. Obviously it's online, but that's what I want. I want to create that space. So if you feel like you've connected with me today or in any of my videos, make sure you do subscribe. And I hope you learned something from this video. I hope it's not too long. I can't really see from here how long we have, but I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.